Recently, I played in a Starcraft 2 tournament. Here's what happened. This was a tournament hosted and casted by my friend Nijanix. It was only open to players that had an MMR lower than around 4,300, 4,400. For those of you that don't know, MMR stands for Matchmaking Rating, and it's basically just a number calculated by the game for you. It's based on your performances and it indicates how good you are at the game. The higher your MMR, the better the game thinks you are. At the time of this tournament, my MMR was around 3250, though I hadn't played any games of Starcraft in the month leading up to the tournament. Anyway, this put me right in the middle of the MMR range of the players participating in the tournament. And given the fact that I was rusty as hell, my goal was to win a single game of Starcraft. Now before I get into the matches, let me talk a little bit about my favorite topic. Me! Specifically how I play Starcraft. Now there's 3 playable races in Starcraft: Zerg, the bug-like infestation aliens, Protoss, the super advanced aliens, and Terran, the normal humans. I play Terran because they're the humans, and last I checked, I'm also a human. Now Terran has an interesting trait that the other 2 races don't have. They have 2 main playstyles that are actually vastly different from one another. The first and much more popular of the 2 is called Biological, or Bio for short. When playing Bio, your main army production facility is the barracks. Usually you'll have like 5 or more of these things and just fucking print Marines. And then shooty bang bang win game. I don't play Bio. I play Mechanical, or Mech for short. This playstyle is characterized by building vehicles like tanks, walkers, or flamethrower cars. While Bio players like to abuse the high mobility and damage output of their units to attack multiple locations at once, Mech players will generally focus on building up their base, building up a slower but much more powerful army, and attacking once we reach maximum army size. But given how much more popular Bio is than Mech, you can almost think of Mech Terran as the hidden 4th race of the game. And despite many people telling me to switch to Bio because it's better, I've always stuck to my guns and I've only ever played Mech. And the popularity of Bio really showed at this tournament too, because there was quite a few Terran players, but they all played Bio and I was the only one that played Mech. Anyway, I just wanted to give you an idea of where I stand in the tournament. Let's get into the games. My first match is against I Am a Guy in the Chat. He's also a Terran player and his MMR is 3429. So already I'm kinda intimidated because his MMR is 200 points higher than mine. But I'll do my best. I opened with a pretty standard build, 16 barracks, 16 gas, Reaper fast expand. As I'm opening my build, I send one of my workers across the map to check up on what my opponent is doing. Looks like he's opened double gas, which is a more aggressive opening than mine. Furthermore, he scouted my build and knows that my build is more economical than his. In Starcraft, you often have a choice of investing in a stronger economy or a stronger army. We both scouted each other and we both know the current state of things is that he will have a slightly stronger army and I will have a slightly stronger economy. This means I should expect him to attack me soon, so I start preparing some defenses for the inevitable attack. Lo and behold, a little over a minute later, here comes the attack. Shit, no, my Reaper. Okay, everyone get in there. He's going for my workers! Workers, fight back! Get out of my base! Alright, that was an okay defense. I guess we came out of that about even. So I'll continue my build and oh god, he has a Liberator harassing my workers. I drive the Liberator away with my Cyclone, but he killed a bunch of my workers. Now I'm behind. Oh man, what am I gonna do? He harasses me a couple more times in the next couple minutes and I really don't do a great job of deflecting it away. Eventually he just comes in with his main army and it's just way bigger than my army. I don't stand a chance. Okay, deep breaths. It's a best of 3, so I still have a chance. I need to win 2 games in a row, but it's possible. Game 2, alright, here we go. Ah, for the love of God! I lost in exactly the same way. Alright, well, not the best start to the tournament, losing my very first match. Luckily, this is a double elimination tournament, which means if you lose a match, you're not out yet. You first drop down to the losers bracket where you play against other players who have also lost one of their matches. My first match in loser's bracket is against Arikawa. He's a Zerg player with an MMR of 2854. Alright, let's do this. I actually opened the exact same way against all three races, 16 Barracks, 16 Gas, Reaper Fast Expand. My worker scout finds that he's gone for a pretty standard build as well, looks like Hatch Gas Pool. We're about even on how economical our builds are, but the dynamic of Terran vs Zerg dictates that I'm the one who has to attack him first. So instead of bringing my worker back from scouting, I park it at his third base location. When my Reaper pops, I send it across the map to join my worker and try to fight him, and maybe delay his third base. Right as my Reaper arrives, his worker also arrives to try to take the base. My Reaper begins to attack his worker, and he responds by making it start an extractor on one of the gases. At this point, I've already heavily delayed his third base, and I've also forced him to spend some money on an extractor. Back at home, I'm progressing well with my build, so I've got a pretty sizable lead at this point. Eventually, he finally sends some Zerglings to drive away my units from his third base location, and then he leaves? Oh, wait, he's coming back. I kite his Zerglings with my Reaper while my worker remains parked on point. Things go quiet for a while. I thought maybe he's taken an alternate third base location, so I checked the other base with my Reaper and I don't find anything. As I run back, I catch another one of his workers on his way to take his third base, along with some more Zerglings and a Queen this time. He finally kills my worker, leaving my Reaper all alone. With my worker gone, I predict that he's going to try to take his third base again, so I time my Reaper's path to block it one last time before I finally send the Reaper into his base to scout. And what do I see? Literally nothing that would potentially threaten me right now. At this point, I basically have an insurmountable lead, and I just need to do my own thing to close out the game. A few minutes later, I've got a squad of flamethrower cars and a battlecruiser. I teleport my battlecruiser into his main base and start harassing his workers. At the same time, I'm poking in and out with my Hellions at his third base, just trying to take up as much of his attention as possible. Throughout this attack, I kill a pretty good amount of workers, further extending my lead. Finally, I build up what's just a massive mech army and plow through his entire base for the win. Alright! I've now hit my goal, so I honestly don't care what happens for the rest of the tournament. Also, for this tournament, losers bracket matches were best of 1, so I'm actually already victorious over Arikawa. Next match. It's against Minijon, another Terran player with an MMR of about 3300. Looks like he's right around my skill level. And also, Ninjanix was casting games for his stream, and he ended up casting this game, which meant everyone's watching. Oh god, everyone's watching! But But little did they know, unlike most people, I actually do better under pressure. As always, 16 Barracks, 16 Gas, Reaper Fast Expand. My worker scout's a double gas, which, as you already know, is more aggressive than my opening. So I put down the old defense for the inevitable attack.
No, we do see a bunker being placed down, so that will keep John relatively safe.
A while later, here it comes! I see that my opponent's got a ton of Reapers in his attack, and the Reapers can actually jump over the wall into my base. So I defend the Reaper jump spot by parking my Hellion next to it. What I wasn't expecting was for him to use a medevac to pick up his units and drop them into my base.
Which might prevent Minijon from getting up, but he does that. Oh, this is beautiful. He's gonna jump up with the Reapers and load up the Hellions in the medevac, and that's how he's gonna get the Hellions in the main. That does mean this bunker is absolutely useless. More Reapers coming in here. Marines trying to help out. The Cyclone's gonna help, but the Cyclone's definitely not what you want. The units are diving on. He needs to pull the workers. He needs to pull the workers right now before this Cyclone is picked off. Ooh, the last minute load. A little bit of mistake. Plenty of Marines finally able to reinforce. And that was really close for John. If he lost that Cyclone, he could have been quite a bit of trouble.
I disagree with that. I had plenty of Marines to defend the remainder of the attack, even if my Cyclone went down. A while later, my opponent attacks me again with a small force.
Nice siege in here is gonna start chipping away at this wall, as well as that sensor tower. Viking will shoo away the Raven, needs to keep it safe. Another Viking though does fall to the bunker and Cyclone. One Marine gets shelled out of this world. And now we do have the chess game between the tanks. Needs to be very careful. One of the tanks sieging a little bit too far, but this tank not really being protected as well. These Marines will get that tank quite easily, but then we'll pay the price as the other Marines are coming out. Ooh, perfect disable on this tank. Won't be able to get any more damage dealt.
Luckily, I had enough tanks to keep myself safe, clean up his army, and successfully defend the attack. This makes me feel pretty safe about taking my third base. From here, I'm content to just sit back, build up, and wait for the late game, where Mech is generally stronger than Bio. Eventually, I even take my fourth base, but soon after, my opponent attacks me with a huge army and nearly catches me with my pants down.
John repositioning his army here. Liberator's getting a nice siege in here. Raven flying in straight to the Vikings. A little bit of miscontrol there. Won't get anything disabled. A bunch of tanks unsiege as well, getting caught off guard by Matagon. Doing a bunch of damage here, but the Marines are simply melting so fast without combat shield. Combat shield almost about to finish, but just a little bit too late.
Things get a little bit dicey, but luckily his tanks are far enough back to not be too relevant yet. I take the opportunity to reposition my own tanks closer to my fourth base, preventing him from pushing any further. He pushes anyways.
Matagon has to be a little bit careful here as these swords can really shell away everything so fast. Matagon trying to brute force his way, trying to siege the tanks in front of John's, but I think he's gonna pay the price here as the Thor's eating so many shots. Vikings starting to land. I think he really should just be retreating. They're gonna be melting in front of the Planetary as well, helping out in this fight. John getting about to finish Smart Servos and Infernal Preigniter as well. That is the blue flame for the Hellions. Smart Servos does allow the Hellions and Hellbats and Thors to transform faster as well. A couple of misrallied units from Matagon. I think he needs to pull away here. This is a little bit of a worrisome pathing. A little bit of a mispathing here. Should have walked back the other way.
Another successful defense. And hey, in the midst of all that, I got a fifth base now. Alright, I'm close to maxing out, so it's time to attack. As my army moves out, I catch his tanks in the middle of the map, but he manages to siege up in a choke. I decide it would be suicide to try to attack into that, so I continue to move towards his base to force him to attack into me.
But we'll just go ahead and walk past it, going for the main, going for the throat instead of Matagon. All these misrallied tanks coming in, more medevacs dying to the Thors, these Hellions doing plenty of damage as well, as a single Marauder is definitely not going to be able to deal with this.
I take a position between his bases, cutting his territory in half, and once I had my tank sieged up, it was over.
If he gets onto this high ground, it's going to be absolutely over. More units being misrallied down onto the Hellbats. Finally a tank sieging on the high ground, definitely the right call here, but these Thors are going to be so difficult to deal with, and these tanks rallying in here like this is definitely not what you want happen. 20 SCVs do go down, GG is called. And John takes the victory, and we'll move on into the losers bracket. That does mean
weehoo! I've won 2 matches, and I got to win a game on stream? This is going great! I can't believe I made it this far, given how rusty I was and how little I actually prepared for this tournament. But let's keep it rolling. My next opponent? We'll have to wait until the next video, because this video is already getting long enough, and so I kinda have to end it here. But make sure you stay tuned for the exciting finale of Jontheapple's StarCraft 2 Tournament Adventure, coming soon to a YouTube channel near you.